Hope everybody's doing well, and I'm excited to continue our new set of Facebook Live as an overarching review of what do I do with my kid on the autism spectrum, okay? Whether you've got a diagnosis or not, we want to make sure we help all kids who are developmentally delayed, period. Okay, we want to make sure their language is good, their sleep is good, their digestion is good, their overall health is good, their behaviors are good. We want to make sure everything is as good and neurotypical as it should be. And that's why we are here to help. Okay, so last week's Facebook Live was the first part of the overarching educational piece, which was why does my child have autism? So I wanted to review that, and we'll kind of review as we go along through this overarching kind of educational thing we're doing for 2021. So again, printed out a few things. Number one in step one, we want to talk about why. Why does my child have autism? Okay, your child may be regressive. Okay, and regressive is much more common. Regressive is, hey, my kid was talking and saying mama and dada and making eye contact, and then one day, usually between 12 and 18 months, gone. Like, where did my child go? There's no more talking, there's no more eye contact. My child is obviously different very quickly. Excuse me, that's called the regressive form of autism. Those kids, I believe, are heavy with toxins and need to detox, as well as should get a genetic SNP test to help us understand why they were predisposed to the regression versus other kids. Okay, that has to do with their glutathione genetics, their methylation genetics, a multitude of things. Next, your child may be non-regressive. Non-regressive means, geez, ever since they were born, they didn't make eye contact, they didn't have language, nothing developed and then went away, it was just nothing from the beginning. I believe a majority of those kids have a genetic cause for their delay, and I highly encourage you to get a CMA and a WES genetic test. Now, we do have both of these genetic tests on our website, so if you want to get them through us, you'll get a written interpretation and treatment recommendations from me, or you may be able to get these tests through your PCP or your pediatrician. So it all depends where you want to do it, but again, make sure you get these genetic type of tests done. Excuse me, that'll really help us direct why your child has autism, what we can do about it. One of the big myths that I need to help everybody understand, if there is a genetic component to the developmental delay or to the autism, it can be treated. Many of my patients think, boy, if there's something genetic, I can't do anything about it. That is not the case. Now, of course, you cannot change your DNA, you cannot change your genetics, but you can treat your genetics. And if we want to make these kids and give them the best life possible, we need to know as much as possible to help them. All right. Now, that was number one. Why does my kid have autism? Again, regressive, non-regressive, toxicity, different genetics, etc. The next thing I want to talk about today are kids' behaviors. Okay, so I would say the biggest goals, and I ask most of my patients, what are your goals? What do you want me to do to help your child? Okay, most of the biggest goals are either language or behaviors. Here I am throwing pets. So let's talk about the behaviors first, because behaviors can really throw off a whole family. Okay, and it's sometimes it's important to get these crazy behaviors better before moving on and say, hey, let's work on our language. Let's make our kids more calm. So behaviors can have a multitude of causes. So you really need to look into all of the different causes for these behaviors. When I say behaviors, what do I mean? I mean hyperactivity. I mean massive amounts of stimming and flapping and bouncing and like jumping off of walls, and everything's a jungle gym in your house, okay? Non-stop stimming, non-stop screaming, non-stop hyperactivity, lots of sleep problems, okay? Things that are just making your life pretty crazy, okay? It's okay to say those things because we want to help these kids, all right? Excuse me. And I see a lot of great live questions coming up right now, and I will answer as many of the live questions as I can after I talk about my topic. Here's what I want to say right now. Linda asked, do you recommend the COVID vaccine? So I'd like to say something about that right now for our kids, all right? The COVID vaccine has not been researched in children, period. So we have no idea about safety in children. We have no idea if it's going to affect development. We have no idea if this is going to be the new thalidomide, okay? So I would never recommend anything unless it has been tested for safety in our children. So that's my number one thing, and I hope those safety studies are moving underway. All right, so let's talk about the different causes of different behaviors, all right? So the first thing I want to talk about is B vitamins and probiotics. You may be giving your child a supplement or a medication that's making the behaviors worse, all right? That is very possible. Just because something's natural doesn't mean it's a good match for someone, okay? I would say the most important thing, or most common supplement that causes these kind of hyperactive behaviors are actually B vitamins. Now, so many kids get B12 shots, so many kids take B vitamins, and you hear about methylfolate and B12, so many good things about them that you want to give them to your kids, okay? They work in many kids, but not all, nowhere near all of them. I would say 50% of the kids that I work with in my practice get worse behaviors on B vitamins. So the first thing to do is make sure what you're giving to your child is not making them worse, all right? So what I like to do is something called an elimination trial. Take a few days, stop the B vitamins, see what happens. Are they better? Are they worse? Make your adjustments as necessary, okay? The second one that happens a lot is probiotics. Now, hey, a lot of people give probiotics to our kids. Are they helpful? Okay, are they making things a little worse behavior-wise? All right, this can happen for those children who have an active yeast infection, bacterial infection, or parasite infection in the gut. Probiotics will seemingly make the behaviors worse. So if you give a probiotic and your child's worse behavior-wise, or you stop the probiotics, they're a little better, that is a big sign that you probably have a gut infection and should do some type of testing, whether that be a stool test or an oat test, okay? And you can get those tests on our website if you want to, but if probiotics make the child's behavior worse, I'm worried about a gut infection, okay? So do your due diligence after that for the testing and the treatment. Okay, next. Foods. Different foods can definitely be causing behavior changes. You know what happens when I drink 10 cups of coffee with 10 teaspoons of sugar in each one? I get a little crazy. You know why? Because we are what we eat, and food affects all of us, period, okay? Different foods have different, it can cause problems in different kids. So gluten and dairy are very common foods that are suggested to avoid in kids on the spectrum, as they can exacerbate behaviors. I find that dairy products cause a lot more of the anger and defiance in kids than gluten does, but everybody's a little different. The two other diets that I would like to highlight have to do with oxalates and histamines. So oxalates and histamines are different chemicals in certain foods that are totally different from gluten and dairy, but can really worsen moods and behaviors. So what I want you to do, if you haven't done the testing, you can test your oxalate levels in your urine, you can test your histamine levels in your urine, and if oxalates are high, go on a low oxalate diet. If histamines are high, go on a low histamine diet, okay? So if you have done that urine testing, that can guide you as to which diet might be better. But if you have not done that testing, there's a real easy way to find out. Do a vitamin C challenge. Now, what's a vitamin C challenge? Vitamin C challenge means give your child some vitamin C, probably 1,000 milligrams. Okay, that's a typical dose. If your child gets worse behaviorally on the vitamin C, because the vitamin C itself contains oxalates, then you should go on a low oxalate diet. So you took vitamin C, behaviors got worse, probably because of the oxalates in the vitamin C, go on a low oxalate diet, which you can Google easily, all right? If you give vitamin C and the behaviors and mood gets better, that indicates a histamine problem, because vitamin C removes histamine in the blood, in the body, okay? Histamine can activate receptors in the brain and make you hyperactive and have sleep problems. So if vitamin C helps behaviors, go on a low histamine diet. Again, this does not substitute gluten and dairy free, but is in addition to, all right? And let me say one thing about the diets, and I want to be frank and open and honest. They're hard. They're hard, okay? But guess what? If you haven't done them and you haven't done them right, you don't know if it's going to help or not. Don't say you don't want to do it just because it's going to be hard and ignore a potential helpful treatment for your child. Yeah, it's hard. I've got a kid. We do gluten-free. We used to do gluten and dairy-free. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. I'm there, okay? But if it could potentially help your child, do the hard work. Sometimes you got to buckle up, do the hard work. Next, so we talked about these current supplements you're taking making behaviors worse. Next, different foods. Next, pain, okay? Hey, we all get upset when we're in pain, period, all right? What's that pain from? Well, that pain is normally from some type of gut infection, like a yeast infection or mold or some kind of other bacterial or parasite infection. Also, a lot of kids have headaches, okay, or migraines. So look for where the child pushes or touches themselves. You know, kids who bang their head trying to get rid of a headache. Kids who push on their belly trying to get rid of the pain. Okay, so if you do need to address a yeast or a gut infection, address the gut infection, but do something that I like to call an ibuprofen challenge. Okay, give the recommended dose of ibuprofen a couple times a day for a couple days. If your child is dramatically better, we know that inflammation is causing the problem. I had a child who took a few doses of ibuprofen and started talking. Okay, that's pretty crazy. All right. Why did they start talking on ibuprofen? Because ibuprofen suppressed inflammation, and the inflammation must have been causing the speech problem because they started talking. Now, they stopped the ibuprofen and the speech went away, but that indicates we need to go down the road of inflammation. That's where our Panda Bear supplement is a great, great thing to do. Panda Bear is our supplement that is a broad spectrum natural anti-inflammatory and doesn't give you ulcers like long-term NSAIDs do. Can't use ibuprofen forever because it gives you an ulcer. All right, last but not least, adrenaline. Okay, hey, what is adrenaline? It's one of those chemicals that causes fight or flight in our kids and really causes a lot of hyperactivity. If you were in fight or flight all the time, you'd be bouncing off the walls. Adrenaline can be elevated chronically if you have COMT or MAO genetic mutations. You would find that on the SNP test. So the SNP test will analyze COMT and MAO. If those are problematic, that means there's a problem removing adrenaline from your body and from your brain, and you're always in fight or flight. So we want to make sure we can remove that extra adrenaline, okay? And I'm super excited to announce the launching of our brand new supplement. I literally just got it today off the FedEx truck. This is our new supplement to reduce high adrenaline levels. So if you do have a child who is very active, who is very angry, who is, has sleep problems, they may have high adrenaline levels, okay? You can test this adrenaline in a urine test. We do this with my patients. We don't have that test available on our website, but if you're a patient of mine, we order it. We just use local labs like Quest or LabCorp or Kaiser or your hospital, okay? Anybody can order these tests. They are everywhere. And if your adrenaline level is high, you wanna bring it down, okay? So brand new supplement. I'm super excited about it. I formulated this myself. There's nothing out there like it. It is extremely unique. Let me describe why it's unique, why I love it, and why I want everybody to try it if you have a child who's very hyper and very stimmy and has a lot of sensory issues, okay? This should help all of those things. And also, don't forget, this is the best time for me to say this, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee on all our supplements. I want you to try things for your child. If it doesn't work, send it back. Get a refund, okay? I want to help you try different things for your child to see what works. So, anger management. Ta-da! I love it. Anger management. Why is this so good? And in fact, first thing, let's taste it, okay? I'm going to open it. First bottle opened ever in the world. It is a powder. It is filled to the brim. I know a lot of times our bottles are only half full because of the amount. And let me taste it. Okay, so there we go. It's a white powder. It is a little sweet and a little smoky. Okay, so like kind of that smoky flavor you'd get with like a Chipotle or something, but it's got a sweetness to it. So I would mix this in some kind of food. You could mix it in water. It's going to be water soluble, but mix a half teaspoon, holy cow, I need my cheaters, don't I? Half teaspoon twice a day. Now, why is this so unique? Let me walk you through the formula. All right. I did the smart thing this time. I printed out the ingredients and printed them up. Okay. The ingredients are vitamin B2, vitamin B6, magnesium, theanine, glycine, cysteine, choline, and lithium orotate. Now, why are these 8 supplements so special? Why are they put together in the formula that I have? First off, let's talk about something called glutamate, okay? Glutamate is, and that you've all heard of MSG, monosodium glutamate. It is a chemical in the brain that causes excitement. It causes agitation. It's an accelerator, okay? And that can cause a lot of behavior problems in a lot of people, okay? So here's a research study that talks about how, what does it say here? Excitatory glutamate neurochemicals in a certain part of the brain are going to affect those with autism, okay? It's a big exciter. Now, glutamate is kind of hard to get rid of. You know, people make a lot of glutamate. What we want to do is reduce glutamate levels in the body, as well as prevent glutamate from hitting the brain, okay? So we're going to do two things. The glutamate that's floating around, we're going to lower it, and also where glutamate enters the brain, we're going to put a big bouncer. Well, you can't get in here, okay? So the wonderful thing, and again, this is the one thing I like best about this formula. This is the molecule glutathione. You've all heard of glutathione. It's an antioxidant. Okay, it helps repair damage in the brain. Glutathione is made of glutamate, cysteine, and glycine. So all this glutamate is floating around in the body causing behavior problems. So what we have in here are cysteine and glycine. So cysteine and glycine are in our formula, okay? What they do is they catch up extra glutamate and convert it into glutathione. We're taking something that's harmful and turning it into something that's wonderful, okay? So that's one of the really cool things about the formula. Reduces glutamate, which causes more behavior problems, turns it into glutathione, which helps us repair damage. It's so cool. Also, research study about autism and glutathione. Glutathione metabolism biomarkers are a potential to inform about the early diagnosis of autism. So this research study talks about how poor glutathione in the body is very much associated with autism, so we want to make sure we increase glutathione levels. All right, cool. Next, what do we have? We have a little bit of lithium orotate in the formula. Lithium orotate acts as a mood stabilizer. This is not lithium the drug, this is lithium the mineral, okay? Just like calcium, magnesium, zinc, copper, lithium is an element, it's a mineral. It's number 3 on the periodic table. It sits right there under hydrogen. And so what we have here, this is a research study that talks about lithium and autism and how lithium could be a mood stabilizer for patients with autism, okay? We use it in a lot of our patients, works really well. Also theanine. Theanine is an amino acid in this formula. Why do we like it? 2 reasons. Number 1, theanine also elicits improvements in cognitive function, including learning and memory. And theanine administration results in neuroprotection and prevents glutamate receptor agonist injury, okay? So theanine is the bouncer in the brain. Like, don't glutamate, don't do it, don't get in here. We're gonna keep you away, all right? And last but not least, 2 more. Last but not least, vitamin B6 and magnesium, which we have in our formula, has been researched since the 80s, the 70s, to help with autism. So improvement in neurobehavioral disorders in children supplemented with magnesium and B6. And again, this is just one of the basics that we use with so many of our kids. And the last research study is the influence of choline in those with autism, especially where mothers have an MTHFR mutation. So choline, MTHFR deficient mothers, yada yada, treatment recommendation for children is this choline. And we also have choline in our new folinic acid supplement, and that's doing wonders for kids' language. So many cool things about our new formula. And again, this new formula isn't for everybody. It's for those with high adrenaline, or if you have CUMT and MAO genetic mutations, as I do. So I'm gonna start, it's my cheaters. So I'm gonna start taking the anger management formula and see how we do. All right, so let me recap and answer all our live questions. How are we doing for time? Yeah, not bad, 20 minutes, all right. So if you've got behavior problems, your kid's really hyper, your kid's bouncing off the walls, your child has sleep problems, what do we do? Okay, first off, make sure you're not giving them something that's making the problem worse. Next, different foods will cause these behaviors. Gluten, dairy, oxalates, histamine. Try vitamin C. If the vitamin C makes it bad, avoid oxalates. If vitamin C makes it good, avoid histamine. Is there pain? Is there a gut infection? Get a stool test. Are they pushing on their belly? Try a little ibuprofen. See if that helps a lot. If so, try our Panda Bear, anti-inflammatory supplement. And again, if you think high adrenaline, fight or flight is a problem, if you've got CUMT or MAO mutations in your SNP test, try the anger management formula, okay? Again, everything on our website, 30-day money-back guarantee. You try it doesn't work, send it back. Send it back so you can use what's best for your kids.